Hey there friends, welcome back to some more Shadowrun Dragonfall. When we last left off, we did some talking to Glory and got us basically the culmination of her sad tale. And it basically ended up with us having to come to this lodge to rescue the people that are being seduced by the Debo, basically. And we need to help them escape. And then we need to try and defeat Harrow, the man who runs the place. But it's not going to go without having its complications. So let's get on with the rest of the game and see what we can do. We're going to enter the Führerstall. Try and rescue them kiddos. Gotta be very, very sneaky. Very, very sneaky. There's something I want to... Oh, we can look at this. There's a... Oh, that's a door. Then we have another door. This part gets really crazy. The doorway shimmers with a faint red light. As you approach the door, you can feel a squirming sensation in the back of your skull. Your limbs begin to tingle and to feel heavy. The closer you get to the doorway, the more of a struggle it is to continue moving forward. You feel as though your strength is being siphoned from your body. We're going to step back for now. As you step away from the door, the crawling sensation gradually recedes. A moment later, the strength returns to your limbs. Glory stares into the light, frowning. The shrine room is through there. But this barrier wasn't here before. Haro must have warded the doorway after I ran. How do we get through? The ward is like a lock. There must be a key. Back when I helped Haro run this place, he and I were the only ones allowed in the shrine room. So we look for whoever's taken my place. That's where the key will be. How will we know who that is? It'll be a girl. Would never take a male as his second. He wouldn't want the competition. And her hair will be fire red. It's sort of an insignia of rank within the cult. A girl with red hair. Got it. So, I mean, I could have just, I can probably still can. No, we could have just went through it. But there's some other things I want to do first. We're going to open up some doors. You can hear this murmuring sound coming from inside the room. Voices, 3, maybe 4 people, all talking amongst themselves. You can't make out what they're saying, but one of the voices sounds desperate. You've heard the tone before. It sounds like a man pleading for his life. We should keep moving. Whatever is going on in there, we don't want to get involved. Sorry about that. It's weird. Whenever I start playing this game, my throat starts getting all... like I need to clear it all the time. Sounds like somebody's in trouble in there. I don't doubt it, but we can't do anything about that now. The cultists in there have been brainwashed by Harrow. Whatever they're doing, they aren't doing it of their own accord. After we've purified the shrine, then we can intervene. But if we go in there now, they're going to attack us, and then we're going to have to kill them. That's not what I came here to do. If we end up getting attacked, I can always just reload the save. Because I do kind of want to know what's going on in there. You strain your ears and hear the people in the room or in the other room are saying. As you focus, the sound crystallizes and becomes clear. You shouldn't have come here. The tools of the government aren't welcome at Führerstall. You hear a soft sound. You recognize it instantly, a blade being drawn from its sheath. We have a use for people like you. Please, think about this. I have kids at home, not much younger than you. The voice is low and full of dread. I'm not here to represent any government. I'm not a threat to you. I was only doing my job. You're wearing a uniform. That makes you a tool and a pawn and our enemy. Harrow said so. I'm just a park ranger. I'm the only here to do a wildlife survey. I didn't even know that you people were out here. But now you do. And if you leave this place, others will find out. You brought this on yourself. No, please. The voice dissolves into a long, piercing scream. You're right. We can't afford to help this man. No, he's pretty much already dead. So we need to move on. Just move on, moving on. That must be another door that leads to the same place. There's a couple doors. Actually, I want to start over here. So we've got a terminal and a large book. I can't remember what the terminal is. The the code was. An ostentationally large tomb sits cradled on its pedestal. The paper is robust and fibrous, and binding has been stitched. A steel plate running along the book's spine anchors it to the pedestal. Glory stares down at it, frowning. Harrow's manifesto, the handcrafted line of bullshit that he feeds to his initiates. We all ate it up with a smile and came away convinced that he was a genius. She leafs through the pages with an articulated finger. It looks like he's expanded it over the last few years. It looks at least twice as thick as it was when I lived here. Maybe there's something in there that we can use. I wouldn't want to hang around long enough to find out. This is Harrow's personal library. We used to experiment in here. There were dangerous things in here, Sultan McFarkles. Sick things. I was never allowed in this room without Harrow. Nobody was. He said it was for our own safety, and I think that he was telling the truth. I find it uneasy being in here. I don't want to stay longer than we have to. Whatever Harrow's added to his manifesto, it could be important. I'm going to take a look. Alright, I'll watch your back, but try to be quick. We have to do this, actually, because later on, you need to use the information in it. You flip through the early pages of the manifesto, find what it looks like a good place to jump in and start to read. When I first set out on the path to free living, I realized that I'd have to rethink all my earlier assumptions about life. I'd have to question my own values and beliefs, but I'd need the strength to trust in the answers that came to me. The prospect was daunting, but it was also necessary. The road to true freedom is paved with unanswered questions. After all, you can't learn to be free from a book. The answers won't come from a Bible, an instruction manual, or a code of conduct. If you don't learn that, you'll never break your chains. The path to true freedom is one that each of us must walk on his or her own. What makes life worth living? What in life is truly valuable, and what is the dross that can be burned away? I spent weeks dissecting every aspect of my life to find the answers to those questions. Slowly, agonizingly, I pared down the list to only 4 items remained. These 4 items became the cornerstones of my new philosophy, and the basis for everything that Führerstelle stands for. Love is the first cornerstone, and it must and the most important. Without love, life is bland and meaningless. Without love, we might as well be machines. Love what you do, love the people around you, but above all, love yourself. Self-determination, the second cornerstone. Each must be his or her own shepherd. No more gods and no more kings. Your life is your own. Lash out against anyone or anything that tries to treat you like property. An assault on your freedom is an assault on your whole being, and it must be met with an equally ferocious response. Charity, the third cornerstone. A miserly life is an empty life. Each of us in his or her own master. Then nobody should live as a serf. By helping others along the path to enlightenment, we do enrich our own lives. Passion, the final cornerstone. Complacency is poison. Be wary of it. Ambition is the key to a fulfilling life. Don't settle for what is. If you do, you abandon what could be. You hear a rustling behind you. Glory. Turning, you can see the troubled look on her face. That ominous feeling is getting stronger, Sultan McFarkles. It feels like we're being watched. Continue reading. Leafing through the middle of the book, you find a section dedicated to Harrow's rules of living. Be free in all things, and experience that freedom with your whole being, body, mind, and spirit. Discard the oppressive traditions of modesty and shame that you've been indoctrinated with since birth. The free thinker has no use for them. Your body is a source of pride, of pleasure, and of succor for yourself and for others. Enjoy it and share that joy freely with those who desire it. Be selfish. Don't enslave yourself to others at the expense of your own happiness. Take what you want and do so unashamedly. Our desires are an important part of what makes us human. Society has trained us to hide that part of ourselves from the world, but free living person doesn't cower in the shadows. Own your desires and rejoice in them. Selflessness is ultimately dishonest, and dishonesty has no place in a free society. Show reverence. The free living person understands that the only true governance in this world is the law of nature, and that in nature there is a hierarchy. The rabbit doesn't question the wolf. The mouse does not wonder why it must run from the cat. They do because they must. Their survival depends on it. As it is in nature, so it is at Furostel. You know your place in the food chain and understand the mechanisms by which you can better yourself. You leaf forward and find that there are at least 20 more pages worth of rules. Each was worded vaguely enough to have multiple interpretations. You hear nothing. You hear another rustling thing. Glory moving behind you. She stares down at the rules of living I discussed on her face. Clear, simple rules with a focus on instant gratification. I can see why this would be appealing to a street kid. She nods. That's what Hera wrote them for. He mined an entire library worth of 60s countercultural essays, new age self-help books, and cult manifestos to do it. There isn't a single original idea in this thing. You couldn't have known that. You were a kid. Glory freezes up, her shoulders hunch and her eyes narrow. Sultan McFarkle's that ominous feeling. It's getting closer. There's something in this room with us. I'm sure of it. We need to get out of here now. Fine, let's go. I'm sure that there was something we needed. We can't hack the terminal. Okay, never mind. Moving on. Actually, I'm tempted to do a save here and see what that was. I don't think I can go back. Let me find out. Okay, I did a save. Let's see if we can go ahead and still see what's going on. Let's see if we can check it again. Yeah, let me just continue reading. Let's see what happens. The final pages of the manifesto dissolve into semi-cohesive rants about anarchy, social Darwinism, free love, and the Horned God. You've seen this kind of thing before. Harrow's philosophy is collapsing under his own weight. Unfortunately, none of his cultists seem to have caught on to that fact. Gloria lets out a startled cry, cutting her sentence short. Out of the corner of your eye, you see her wheel to face something behind you. At once, the room fills with slaughterhouse smell. It smells like bile and feces, the stench of an abattoir. Oh. As you turn to catch sight of something sliding into the world, it looks like a charred man with a pair of tortured faces where its shoulders should be. The thing burns like a Roman candle, spitting white-hot sparks in a fiery plume. An oily substance runs down between its dangling legs and spatters onto the floor. Where those drips land, they burn. Sultan McFarkles, look out. I'm guessing this is basically going to be... Ow. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. You're a butt face. Take that, butt face. And that butt face. Okay, I missed. Let's see if this actually warns anybody, because if it does, I'm just gonna reset my save. Because, yeah. I don't need that. The body of the thing that attacked you begins to dissolve the moment of death. As you watch, its tissues break down into a growing stick of bubbling pitch and rendered fat. What the hell was that? Something from another place. Glory stares at the remains of the creature, now a dark stain on the library's floorboards. Like I said outside, the boundaries between the physical world and the astral space are weak here. These things come through. A headless abomination just pissed lighter fluid onto the floor and tried to burn us to death. I think that things can come through as underselling it a bit. Uh, I believe you. Let's clear out before that thing happens again. She nods. We need to get moving anyway. Let's go. So there really wasn't anything to do there other than, I mean, let's see if it still says that I got attacked. Do I have all my health? Let me see if I can use one. If I can use one, then I can't use it, so I don't think it counted. Okay. I'll just keep that saved just in case. Well, here we go. Now here's another room where things can technically, possibly, maybe go bad. But I have that other save, so it's no big deal. Wait, no. Yes, we need to see what's going on in this room. Because this is not good. The refrigerator. As you open the refrigerator door, a whiff of ammonia sticks to your nostrils. Watery light glints off the door's polished interior. The fridge is stacked full of large plastic bins and tightly sealed and neatly labeled. It's hard to tell through the opaque plastic that they appear to be full of meat. You pop the lid off the container and take a little closer look. The first thing that hits you is the smell. The meat in here is beyond rancid. White mold frosts the sides of the bin, and that's all you can do to keep from gagging. As you rush to put the lid on, you recognize a familiar shape in the rotten meat. A mangled human hand. Is this what I think it is? Ritual supplies. The adversary prefers them aged. Harrow teaches us all of the initiates how to do it. How to harvest the meat, how to store it, how to label it. Nobody likes doing it at first, but you learn. By the end, it doesn't even bother you anymore. This is beyond fucked. We need to shut this place down. Rescuing the initiates will put a dent in Harrow's operation for a while. At least they'll be safe. Come on, let's keep moving. This is beyond fucked. Was this the room I don't want to open? There's some room I don't want to open. Ah! It's that room. I think. This is the Initiate's dormitory. The new arrivals are brought here. There's still hope for these kids, Sultan McFarkles. Harrow hasn't had a chance to ruin them yet. Good to know. We'll try and get them out of here. Glory raises a hand, suddenly alert. Wait, listen. Movement in the other room. You strain your ears to listen. Soft voices inside the room come drifting out from a nearby vent. You hear a woman's voice. The sound is crisp and smooth and sweet, and it instantly puts you at ease. Calm now, dear. It's probably nothing. No need to worry yourself. We're so far off the beaten track, we don't get a lot of visitors. At the corner of your eye, you can see Glory's back stiffen. She flinches as though she'd been stung. Another voice, high-pitched and pleading, an adolescent boy. But if it is what it is? But what if it is someone? What if the bad people have found us? What if they followed me here, and they've come to... The female voice cuts in, soft and comforting. Well then, we'll just send them away. You're perfectly safe here. You have to believe that. Don't worry, dear heart. Harrow won't let anyone hurt you. Not here. In this place, not ever again. Are you certain, Marta? Positive. Be calm, all of you. As long as you're here with us, nothing bad will happen to you. That name sounds familiar. She gives a curt nod. It should. Marta was the bait that Harrow used to lure me here. What do you want to do? Glory pauses, grits her teeth. Finally, she spits out an answer. If she's still here, she'll be Harrow's number one. My old position. He had his way with all of us, but he was always sweet on Marta. That means she'll have a key to the shrine room. Maybe we can talk to her, convince her to give us the key. Maybe. But not here and not now. Those kids in there, they'll all die for her. They already love her. That's what she does. We can't risk confronting her in that room. If the situation turns ugly, any one of those kids will happily eat a bullet for her. And that's not what I came here to do. We'll wait until Marta leaves and follow her. Glory nods as her assent. Marta's voice floats back out through the vent. Hush now, boys, and get some rest. We've got a big day tomorrow. The biggest days of your lives. You get to meet Harrow. I promise you, after you speak to him, you'll see the world in a whole different way. A better way. All right, Marta. Have a good night. You too, dear heart. All of you. You hear a distant sound of the door sliding shut. Glory takes a deep breath, then releases it. The coast is clear. We can handle the initiates. They're just a bunch of scared kids. Without Marta there to egg them on, they won't try anything. Okay, let's step away. I know that there's something else we can do. Oh, what is this? Oh, there's a van. Glory pauses at the side of the van. She traces the side of it with a claw. I remember cruising the back of the alleys of Tübingen, looking for kids in need of help. The bait girls, Marta and the others like her, would offer them money, food, or drugs, or sex, whatever it took to get them into the van. And once they piled in, Harrow and I would be waiting to greet them. I remember so many nights like that. I remember how much I used to enjoy it. Coming back here shows integrity, Glory. Most runners that I know wouldn't have done what you're doing tonight. Left to my own devices, I probably wouldn't have. You pushed me to do this, to find some semblance of redemption. I owe you for that. Don't thank me until we're safely back in the Krezer. We still don't know how this is going to turn out. She nods. That's probably wise. We still have a long way to go. Speaking of which, we should keep going. Oh gosh, I have to sneeze. Okay, and sneezing's done. I think that door leads back to the same place. Now the question is then, where does this door lead? I forget. I guess we should probably find a medicine cabinet. Just go ahead and take that. Send a stash. I guess we should find out. Let's see what happens if I open up this door. Oh, it's just a bathroom. Just the rest of the bathroom. Alright, so we need to go ahead and confront Marta. We shall do it. And go, give us the key. I don't want to give you the key, but we need the key. Why? To destroy your god? Here we go. Actually, I want to save it real quick. Alright, here we go. Open the door. Open the door. Hello, friends. The initiate closest to the door whips his head to look at you. He takes a step backward in alarm and then opens his mouth to cry for help. You don't want to do that. Gloria looks deep into the initiate's eyes, transfixing him. We're not here to hurt you. Oh, I need street etiquette so bad. So many choices have street etiquette. Well, we'll try this one. We're friends of Harrow's. Don't bother calling Marta. The initiate eyes you nervously. His gaze fits to Glory, then falls to her cyber limbs. He swallows. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. You do that. Alright. Cool. I'm going to talk to you, lady. The initiate by the door is staring at Glory's limbs, her eyes wide. She's a mousy little thing, probably somewhere in the vicinity of 17 years old, with purple contact lenses and a shock of blue hair. She glances up at Glory, blinking. You used to live here, didn't you? I've seen your picture before. Really? I think so. I didn't look at it long. I was in the room that it wasn't supposed to be in. But I'm pretty sure that it was you. It probably was. You're right. I did live here a long time ago. I was like you back then, a scared kid brought here by Marta for a chance at a new life. I like Marta. She's so nice. I always feel safe when I'm with her. Most adults aren't like that. They either don't notice you or they do for the wrong reasons. But Marta, she cares about us. There is a long pause, and then the initiate looks to you. Screwing up her courage, she speaks. Can I ask you a question? Yeah, go ahead. Well, I overheard Marta talking with Mr. Harrow yesterday. I think that they were talking about our meeting with him, the one that Marta was telling us about. One will learn to see the world in a different way. Well, I couldn't really hear the whole conversation. It was muffled, but what I could hear was kind of weird. Mr. Harrow said some stuff about a shrine, and then it sounded like he changed the subject because he started talking about dinner. Something about chopping up meat. Well, Marta got real upset, said they're too new. They're not ready to make the older ones do it, stuff like that. But then Mr. Harrow said some things, and then she calmed down again, and when she left, she was smiling. So I was just wondering, do you know what they were talking about? I just want to make sure that Marta is okay, and I can't ask her about it because I don't want her to find out that I was eavesdropping. I think I know what Harrow has planned for you. Have you ever opened the fridge in the other room? No, why? Is that where we're going to make dinner? Glory cuts in. Her voice is gentle. I wouldn't worry about it. We'll make sure that Marta is okay. All right, but don't tell her I told you, please. Don't worry, we won't. How long have you been here, by the way? Almost a week. She shuffles her feet eventually, and she looks up with a small smile. It's wonderful. Of course it is. So much nicer than living on the street, isn't it? Glory's face is kind, but her tone is one of incredible sorrow. You be good, sweetie. Don't you worry. We'll take care of Marta. The girl smiles sheepishly and steps back. As you pass her on your way by the door, Glory shoots you a sidelong glance. It's like I thought. Things have changed here in the past few years. Back when I lived here, Harrow would never have let such a fresh convert prepare a sacrifice. He'd wait until she was in so deep, till she felt so indebted to him that she couldn't turn tail and run. It was a rule. You never let newcomers get settled for a month, maybe two, before teaching them the more unsavory aspects of cult life. Even then, you would start them off slow. First lesson would use pork or chicken, never human meat. That wouldn't come until much later. Indoctrinating a new recruit after a week is risky as hell, and he never would have done it when I lived here. The shrine, he's using it to brainwash the initiates faster than he used to. She nods. That's what I'm thinking. Harrow's getting lazy, getting his captive spirit to do the heavy lifting for him. What's that mean for us? I'm still working on that, but I don't think that the shrine is just a tool for Harrow anymore. I think that he relies on it. He's using it as a crutch. She cocks her head slightly, a thoughtful expression on her face. I think that he's let himself become dependent on the damn thing. That girl's never going to have to do what we saw back in that kitchen. We won't let that happen. She nods, a fierce look in her eye. On that, we are agreed. So, now we need to face good old Marta. And we will do that after I save again. There. The reason I'm just saving so much is for this part, because things can happen. Marta is just on the other side of this door. However this goes, we are going to have to move quickly afterward. If she dies, Harrow will know it, and I don't trust her to keep her mouth shut if she lives. So we take the key to the shrine room, break through the ward, and confront the spirit. Are we clear on that? Crystal, let's do this. Alright, here we go. Hello. The woman in this room is lovely. Full lips contrast artfully with their fine elvish features, and a tumble of fine red hair spills down over her shoulders. Beyond her physical beauty, there's something inherently approachable about her. She exudes an almost palpable aura of kindness and warmth. Marta, Glory's old lover, the lure that Harrow used to draw her, and so many others to Furstell. She looks up with a start at the sound of your approach. Her eyes grow wide at the sight of Glory as she takes in her cyberware. Her mouth falls open in horror. Glory? Yes, Marta, it's me. It's been a long time. It has. Glory, what have you done to yourself? What I had to do. I got out, Marta. This was the only way. Oh, Glory. All at once, the horror in Marta's face was replaced with an expression of profound sorrow. I am so sorry. Marta steps forward to extend her arms to wrap Glory in a hug. All at once, something in Glory's face changes. Her skin goes from pale to pallid, and her breath becomes ragged. She takes a step back and raises her claws into a defensive posture. Her voice frosts over with cold rage. Don't you touch me. You're one of Harrow's creatures. You always were. Marta stops short. One of his creatures, Glory? What are you talking about? Keep your cool, Glory. This isn't like you. This comes to a point where there's choices. If I make certain choices, certain things can happen, and there's a certain scenario that I want to happen that I never have gotten because I don't know if I just didn't have enough stats to do it or if there was a bug or something, but I tried for like literally hours to get the outcome to what I wanted and I couldn't do it. So we're going to try to do it this time. Look at me, Sultan McFarkles. Take a good, long look. I was forced to sacrifice my own body in order to escape this place, to hack away at what made me human, and she's the one who brought me here. Maybe so, but at the end of the day, it was your decision to come here. Nobody held a gun to your head. She grinds her teeth, but says nothing. Eventually she nods. You're right, of course. It was my choice. But that doesn't change what she is, or to what she did to me. If she found me, hadn't baited me here, none of this would have happened. None of what? I haven't done anything. If you'd have just left me where you found me, I would never have had to hurt anybody. My mother would still be alive. I wouldn't have sold my soul to that abomination that you all worship, and I wouldn't have had to sacrifice my own body to escape from it. This place, you took everything from me, and it all started with you. She looks genuinely hurt. Harrow and I rescued you from a life on the street. A beautiful girl, homeless, penniless, living in a gutter. I pulled you away from all that. I saved you. There's a long pause. Glory stares into Marta's eyes, her expression unreadable. I don't feel much anymore, Marta. Most of the time, I'm completely numb. But for you, I can make an exception. I hate you. I'm sorry that you feel that way, Glory. For my part, I still love you. The razors flick out of Glory's fingertips. Her lips curls into a snarl. Another lie. The last one you'll ever tell. Okay. So, here we go. I have to remember which choices to make. I think that we should hear out. Something strange is happening here. She nods eagerly, her eyes fixed on Glory's razor. I'll prove it to you. Ask me anything you want. I'll show you that I'm telling the truth. I never wanted anything bad to happen to you, Glory. Not ever. She wheels to face you. Why are you listening to her? She's just telling you what you want to hear. That's her whole purpose here. Remember, she's bait. Why should we listen to anything she has to say? Let's see. Knowing that the shrine, how the shrine affects her mind may help us, Glory. She fumes at you, but only for a moment. You might be right. Marta looks from you to Glory, a confused expression on her face. Her voice goes quiet. There's nothing wrong with my mind, Glory. I don't even know what you two are talking about. Shoot! I need street etiquette! No, of course you don't, she visits in agitation. I understand your interest in learning more about this Sultan McFarkles, but we're wasting time, and we need that key. If Harold gets back here before we've dealt with that shrine, we're fucked. I didn't turn my back on you, Glory. You shouldn't turn your back on her. Glory stares at you a moment, naked hostility on her face. Then the razors slide back into their housings with a click. All right, Marta, convince me. Convince you of what? That I'm not a monster? I don't know how to do that, Glory. You can start by telling me how you sleep at night. You know what happens to the kids that you bring here. You know what happened to me, but you're still luring them here into Harrow's clutches all these years later. So tell me, how do you live with yourself? Explain it to me. For a moment, you could see the conflict behind Marta's eyes. If cognitive dissonance had a face, it would be hers. Confused, frightened, angry, at war with herself for a moment. She struggles to speak. Then the whispering sensation that you felt outside the compound comes back, and her face changes. The muscles of her brow relax, and she appears to be at peace. Why are you asking me this, Glory? You already know the answers. The kids here, they aren't being hurt. They're just walking the path to a free and pure life, just like Harrow taught us. The shrine's whispering to Glory. Did I say I haven't been... Okay, I haven't been in the Fear Stower for an hour, Marta, and I've seen the evidence of horrifying levels of abuse. She flinches in agitation, but you hear the whispering again, and she calms herself. Her joyful smile widens. Nothing that happens here is without reason. Harrow's a great man, a prophet. When you meet him for yourself, you'll understand. He'll make you see. She's too far gone to parse what you are saying, Sultan McFarkles. After so many years living here, I don't know if she even knows what normal feels like anymore. She steps forward and grabs Marta by the shoulders. It's a curiously soft gesture. Marta, if what you're saying is true, if you ever really did care for me, then please, give me your key. It's important. Key? Whatever you use to get past the wards outside of Harrow's shrine. I need it. Don't ask why. Just do this for me. You owe me that much. She looks momentarily conflicted. Then the moment passes. No. Harrow said that I had to guard this. He told me that I could never take it off. I can't question one of Harrow's orders. It would be wrong. You questioned him about what he's planning on doing with those initiates back there. Was that wrong? That's different. She blinks and then the whispering sound returns, soft and insistent. The flicker of unease on her face is replaced with an easy smile. You wouldn't understand. Then maybe you can explain it to me. Maybe if you could answer my questions, I'd be able to see the light. She nods eagerly. Yes, yes, please go on, ask your questions. I'll explain everything, and you'll see for yourself how perfect and right our way is. Way really is. How beautiful it can be. I've read Harrow's manifesto. It looks like he spends a long time talking about charity. She nods. Yeah, yes, of course, charity. It's the kind of that I practice in rescuing people from the streets. But then in his rules of living, he says all be free thinkers and are supposed to be selfish. Yes, but after that, he says that only the strong deserve to prosper. So, which is it? Marta blinks, and then she looks momentarily confused, and then you see the conviction clamp down behind her eyes. You just don't understand the beauty of the message, the truth behind it. Let's see. Harrow's hurting the runaways that you bring here. Can't you? You can see that, can't you? Hurting? How so? He's going to make the initiates, the young initiates, like the girl in the next room, do something horrible. Her smile slowly fades. That girl's such a sweet young thing. I rescued her from a bad place, Gory. Her and the boys in the dorm as well, and they are all safe now. Isn't that what's important? Are they? You know what I'm talking about, Marta. The harvesting, the meat. The confusion washes over her face again. She begins blinking agitatedly and fidgeting. Then the unseen force clamps down again and she seems to calm. It's regrettable, but it happens for a good reason. The sacrifices keep it safe here, and safety is something that a lot of these kids have never known. The initiates have to learn how things are done here. Harrow told us so. Is that what it all boils down to, doesn't it? It has to be this way because he says it does. He's a great man. He would never hurt us, whatever you say. You're taking everything out of context. You don't understand. How many of them has been taken as his wives, yourself included? She rolls her eyes. A lesson in Puritan values from a Shadowrunner? How quaint. Let's see. This isn't about you. I don't care what you do, Marta. I'm talking about child abuse. Harrow doesn't take the young ones for wives. I don't know what Gloria's told you, but he isn't a monster. And even the youngest initiates here aren't children. Not really. Life on the street that took them from long ago. Fear Stellar lets them be themselves. It's a place certainly safer by the back alleys of some urban hellhole like the ones that you live in. I was young when he chose me, Marta. Maybe not innocent, but young. Somewhere deep down you know that this is wrong. When you lived with us, didn't you think it was wrong? You didn't think it was wrong. You loved it here. You can rewrite history to cast yourself as the victim if you want to. If demonizing me helps, then you can do that too, but nobody ever forced you to do anything, Glory. Glory falls silent, the color drains from her face. This is clearly a difficult subject. I don't know what you were hoping to achieve by bringing it up, but the promise you aren't going to convince me to abandon my way of life. Your ways here are your own. You can't change that. All you can do is accept it and move on. I can see that Harrow has you brainwashed into thinking that he's okay, Marta, but it isn't. You just don't know when to give up, do you? Our ways aren't yours, but it doesn't give you the right to judge us. Who are you to impose your ideology on our commune? Let's see. An outsider, someone who hasn't been corrupted by Harrow or his pet spirit, I'd say qualifies me to offer an opinion. Hey. Oh, I think she's about. Oh, she's about to get mad. If you have more accusations to hurl at my husband, go ahead and do it. I'll tell you how wrong you are. I'd prefer you keep this conversation civil, but that's up to you. He worships the devil. I don't know what Glory told you, but the adversary isn't the devil. Calling him that, reducing him to a cartoonish embodiment of evil, is an insult. The adversary that I revere is a personification of rebellion, conflict, and change, of anarchy. The fact that you live in Berlin but hold the adversary in contempt proves that you two things. Either you're ignorant or you're a hypocrite. Maybe the adversary isn't evil, but Harrow's interpretation of him certainly is. Her lips curl into a sneer. Harrow warned us about the kind of backward thinking, but I wasn't expecting to hear it from you. I'd always assumed that your Shadowrunners were savvy enough to know good from evil doesn't exist. 9 times out of 10 I'd agree with you, but Marta, the adversary is a special case. Somewhere deep down you must know that. Marta sighs, her voice takes on a condescending tone. I don't have to believe anything that you tell me. You don't get to dictate my spiritual beliefs. The fact that you've even trying is sad. Gloria, I expected more from you. I'm done with this. If you want to go on slandering the idol I serve, do it somewhere else. As for you, you can change the subject. You can get ready for a fight. I don't want to hear any more of your blasphemy. Damn! See, just give us the amulet. She's not going to do it. Oh, no. She's going to stab me. Try to react. Yeah, she goes. Okay. Yep, okay. This is where she attacks me. So, we didn't get it. There's a way to get it to where you don't have to do this, and that's what I'm going to try and do. So when we come back, folks, I'm going to try and figure out what to do. But until then, you all take care. And, of course, have a good one. I know I left it on just like a crazy point, but trust me, it'll be worth it, at least for me. Ah!